Welcome back to Werewolf the Apocalypse, where we howl under the full moon and avenge the fallen in the constant fight for Gaia against the corruption of the worm. These werewolves are a mission from Gaia. And as we all know, religious fanatics are completely harmless and will never do any harm to anything around them.
True. I have never done any harm to anyone
Ever. This show is rated R because of mature subjects like mental health issues, physical health issues, tearing your enemies to shreds and feeling great about it, biting down on your enemies and feeling the bloody ichor and just doing a Conan, basically, yeah. And all those things. The pack may not be entirely stable long term, but that's just how it is for werewolves, isn't it?
Yeah. Werewolves and mental stability is like water and oil, buddy.
Yep. I think we all have at least 1 point of Harano or Hellwalkers at this point. Though, the way the system is designed, you'll probably not get a whole lot more of those points. I don't know how you have to play your werewolf to end up with 5 in one of those traits.
As a murder hobo, probably?
Probably, yeah.
Like, I think we've been particularly murder hobo.
It seems much harder to hit Hellwalkers or Harano level 5 than Humanity 0 in Vampire. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, because it gets harder, whereas with Humanity it gets easier to fall the more you fall.
No, not in 5th edition either. But there are some things that cause you to automatically lose Humanity, and you're more likely to do those if you're low Humanity. No.
I just love we have to have the caveat of not in 5th edition.
Not in yeah, it's yeah. That's something. Everybody watching these, when we say not in 5th edition, drink. The audience got really
Dog, they're gonna be dead in the first hour. You can't do that.
Who is part of this lovely pack, the Hellwalkers? Are we gonna keep the name for the pack? I feel like it's been you can have a discussion about that later. Who's part of the pack right now?
Now, I know I'm biased because I'm the Get Fenris, but I do vote on keeping the name. Anyway, Duende, pronouns any all. I am playing as Jake Stromfeld, aka True Strike, the Get Fenris Allrune.
I'm John, I'm playing as Paul, aka Skitters and Shadows, the Ragabash Bonomar.
I'm Roger, I'm playing Miles, Stormspeaker Lincoln, Glasswalker Galliard.
I'm playing Buggy, Lupus, Theurge, a Glasswalker.
Zest, and I'm playing a Silverfang Philodox.
And last time in our story, things got intense. You went to explore a certain cabin, specifically the cabin of one Samuel Haight. And you performed the ritual to cleanse it, and Skitters went with True Strike to the Sept of the Pure Heart to get him some healing. The cabin was a fortress booby-trapped with silver spikes, actually cutlery that was very sharpened. And Miles was impaled by one such trap upon breaking down the front door. And then after that, you proceeded with caution and actually could spot the traps before you stepped in any of them.
Then we stopped proceeding with caution, and I got a little bit exploded.
Yeah, True Strike wasn't there when you were cautious. Heart of Eyes used his spiritual senses to witness visions of the recent past and saw Haight, a man consumed by hatred, in fact, poring over maps and preparing his gear before carrying the pelts of 3 slain werewolves into the house. You found the maps, which marked the hunting grounds of the werewolves that Haight had killed. Skitters delivered the grim news to the Sept of the Pure Heart and entrusted the bodies of Miranda and Bryce to the local Garou for proper rites. The Sept's healers tended to True Strike and managed to mend some of his horrific wounds and bring him back to consciousness. And he just immediately went back to the cabin to join the others because we're get here, aren't we?
Yeah. We don't run from fights.
No, we jump head first into them. That's what we do.
And get a little bit exploded.
Yes. And that is exactly what happened when you descended into the cabin's basement with which was a grim trophy room filled with exotic animal specimens. And on one wall you found a horrifying display with the mounted heads of 2 other Garou, one of which was a Ghetto Fenris, and True Strike was very enraged, tore a head from the wall, and triggered an explosive trap that injured the pack and revealed a hidden tunnel. And there you found the secret chamber that had been used for a dark magic ritual. Heart of Ice once again looked into the past and witnessed the horrifying truth. Samuel Haight performing a complex magical rite where he stitched the 5 werewolf pelts into a suit and fused the skins to his own body, transforming him from mere human into the mockery of a Garou. And you burned the entire cabin to the ground and left the cabin. Are we back at the Valkenburg Foundation now? Because that's what I've assumed here. Or did we go to the Pure Heart Sept?
I guess
we have to
Pure Heart Sept is where they were going to do the ceremony for the dead.
We would have gone there to do the ceremony.
Have you told Valkenburg Foundation, like Gretchen and the others, about
Everything
what
that's
happened? The casualties?
Nope.
No,
I don't think
like
so.
I told Takakané, he has a phone.
He has a phone.
He has a phone.
I'm pretty sure it'd be better if one of us told the Foundation about
I
that
mean,
eventually.
technically... Okay, let's all resolve this. You're getting to the Pure Heart Sept. And this is in basically a forest here in the Black Hills, which is just on the edge to the next state. You're like in the northeast corner of Wyoming, if memory serves me right. And Gale Stalkers dominate this sept, but there are almost every tribe is represented here. Definitely not the Red Talons, though. And Shadow Lords might have less good relations with this sept than some others. But they have good relations with Valkenburg Foundation. They have good relations with the questing pack that is operating on behalf of Valkenburg Foundation. So it's not going to be a problem for you to arrive here and make yourselves at home or take a breather, as it were, after these traumatic events, which are just absolutely fresh in your minds. Being in a cairn after what you just went through must feel like going through some serious detox and cleansing of yourselves. Even though you were the ones who cleansed the Umbra, the emotional scars you carry, they're still there. And Takakané and his people will, of course, allow you to take your time and rest up and so on. There are some unanswered questions here. Heart of Ice was technically approved as the member of the pack. Runs to Fire isn't yet technically, mechanically-ish, otherwise. I don't know how we put that. And also, you're down a pack leader. But, please, tell me, what is the first thing the 5 of you do when you get to this quite nice and relaxing cairn out in the forest where Runs to Fire is gonna feel the wild everywhere, right? This is...
Yeah. Yep.
It must be very heaven-like for her.
Runs to Fire is going to go to the center of the heart of the cairn and just curl up and just recenter herself and put her nose on her feet and just watch everything as she just gets in a more zen state, as zen as a werewolf can get.
I guess I'm gonna ask. I guess we're gonna go to the funerals.
Just tonight, so you have plenty of time to...
Oh, how far are we from Valkenburg here?
A couple of hours by car.
Do I have enough time to go there and go back?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll say to the lads, to the pack, that I'm going to go to, that we should probably choose a new pack leader.
And with that, Jake will say, I think I should be pack leader.
Before all that, I need to talk to the elder here.
All right, then.
So if you wish to come with me, I'm not going to stop you since it involves all of you.
In that case, then I'll come along.
You sure?
Yeah, Buggy will get up and shake off her fur and just follow.
And
Miles will as well.
I'll lead them to where the elder is. And
Out
he's
of
gonna ask her.
wait, out of character. Is Skitters leaving right now, or is he also doing
No,
this?
no, I wanted to get this sorted first before he went. So,
Okay.
no.
Anyway.
So yeah, I'm gonna take the pack to see Takakané.
He will receive you all. He's obviously busy coordinating tonight's moot, but he has some time to spare. Or he will make some time to spare for you because of the service that you have provided to the Garou nation. And to this sept, really, given what you discovered about a certain mining company and the fact that many of this sept's kinfolk are working for the company. They haven't solved that problem yet, but that's probably not very surprising. They've had a grand total of several hours so far, so, you know, it's going to take a moment. Sit. You are always honored members of the Garou and guests of this place, he says.
We have news to bear and things to discuss, Elder. And I figured that it would be best as if everybody from the Hellwalkers, or the remaining of them, to listen, because it involves them as well. We tracked down Samuel Haight, and he managed to escape, but the most frightening thing is that he used the pelts of 5 Garou to create something unimaginable, to make himself into a Garou, or almost like one. I think he even made a blight because of it.
Yeah, he's nodding when he's listening, taking in the seriousness of what you just said. The full weight of it is landing. You can tell this. He is an elder, definitely. The gray hairs, the lines in his face. He must have been fighting this good fight now for, 50 years or so?
From the time that I spent with the Hellwalkers, I realized 2 things. The first is that we can't, if possible, we can no longer be passive within the Foundation. As proven these couple of days, that even if they release some of the patients out into the wild, there are more hunters out there, especially with Pentex. And I know that there's a reason why Pure Heart doesn't interfere with their affairs, but as the recent events have occurred, I do not think that Pure Heart can remain passive in that as well.
We will not be passive after these news. Your heart may be of ice, but it should also rest easy knowing that we will send packs to continue the work that you have begun. The mining company and the situation with that mining company, it will be resolved one way or another. We of course want to make sure first that our kinfolk are safe before doing anything that we might regret later. But you have opened our eyes to the malice of this mining company, and since our kinfolk are directly affected by it, we will not stand idly by. As for the Foundation, it will be up to Director Valkenburg and the others who lead the Foundation to decide how to treat with the people under their care. We understand that the 3 Garou who were slain were all Wolfborn. He's gonna look at Runs to Fire and give her a very empathetic look. Wolfborn, I do not think would do well to stay within 4 walls. Though
Hard dens are bad.
he will not. I think they were trying to respect the wolf heart of the Wolfborn and allow them to roam. That was always a little problem, as releasing wolves into the wild is not something that human authorities look well upon. And the days when my human can decide on protocol for these lands, those days are gone. We sympathized with her decision to give the Wolfborn patients the lands to heal their hearts. We stayed out of their way. We gave them the room they needed to heal and live well together with the land. And unfortunately, this abomination, this follower of the worm, took advantage of our warm heart. I'm not sure that means that we should chill our hearts to the needs of the Wolfborn who become lost. But again, that is for the Foundation to decide. They know more of those ways than we do. Many here, particularly the Shadow Lords and Red Talons, feel that the Foundation should be destroyed, and that anyone who's lost and becomes and gets a broken mind from the change should simply be culled for weakness, much like practices during the Impergium. You will not be surprised to hear that my brothers and sisters in the Children of Gaia here in the Sept disagree strongly with that.
With that, Jake nods.
So if there was no more Foundation, then what would happen with the Lost? Well, I have no answers at this moment. It has been good for us that the Foundation have seemingly found an answer to this question. But now, you are right, Heart of Ice. The answer seems less certain. And with the wounding and disappearance of several hunters from these farmlands. And now he's gonna actually give you guys, particularly Skitters and True Strike and Stormspeaker, a little bit of an extra look. There will be more scrutiny. There will be more attention. There will be more eyes upon the wilds. I'm sure the sheriff is patrolling now to find the animals that did these things to the hunters. They will try to find wolves to blame, to cull the wolf herd, the wolf flocks, the packs. It will be hard times for wolves and wolfborn alike in the coming year, I'm sure. We will, of course, do our part to protect them. Anyone who comes into our lands are protected by our words and our protocols, and not even the farmers or the sheriff can do much about it. But, yes, there will be some difficult times ahead.
What I've witnessed, the Hellwalkers can be brash, reckless, jump head first into things, but
Is everybody looking at your strike right now?
Oh no, Buggy's jumped right into things too, so she's like, yeah, she's owning it.
As Heart of Ice says that, Jake does growl a little bit.
But they mean, at least for the most part, the path between human-born and Garou politics is thin at best, and sometimes they don't realize that some solutions are better handled as a human than a Garou. But that is part of growing up. And while they have made mistakes, I don't see them as a problem that must be dealt with. In fact, Elder, if you allow me, when I came here to Pure Heart, I was worse off than I am now. You and your people took care of me when you have no reason to. And for that, I am grateful. But I think in order to keep them more or less in line, for so to speak, I think I should go with them to make sure that, if nothing else, they do not get into deeper troubles out there.
It is a fortune, perhaps sent by Gaia herself, that Heart of Ice and Runs to Fire have come to this place at this time. But I cannot speak for the pack. The pack will have to accept you.
About that. They did. It was a temporary measure that I suggested, but technically I am in part of their pack, at least temporarily. And then Heart of Ice is going to look back at the four of you and says, "That is, if you still want me to be around you. If not, then I'll go back to the south eventually, where I originally came from. Either way, I do not mind."
No, you got a good head on your shoulders. I think you should definitely stay.
Miles will say, if from New York, want to operate out of the big city?
Oh, I forgot. I haven't really introduced myself, have I? You've only known me by my title. It won't be a problem working in the big city. My family is a pain in the ass, so I'm used to working in large settings. My name is Austin Morrison, or Heart of Ice, but you can call me whichever one. And he's gonna extend a hand to whoever wants to take it.
And with that, Jake will walk up and shake it.
Easy now. I'm fragile. I'm not as strong as you. As he shakes back. Now, and he's gonna look back at the Elder. after the rites for Weavewalker and Thermos, I will probably leave as soon as they're ready.
Stormspeaker will go and shake your hand as well.
I wish would have met at more happier circumstances, but guys need to come first.
And what about you, Runs to Fire? How do you feel about fighting the worm in the Big Apple?
Runs to Fire is right now scratching behind her ear with her hind leg, and she looks like, what? Oh, too much talk. You too much talk. All too much talk. Mother Larissa sent me. I go back to Mother Larissa when done here.
Oh.
Mother Larissa.
She's
heard
the
of that name?
leader of the New York's Cairn.
Oh, okay.
That's
It's like,
green.
it's like I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's coming back to me now. Ah, I see. And then he's gonna kneel down to Rustfire, and he's gonna say, "Do you want to fight with us?"
No pack, long time.
That makes two of us. You and me both.
Yes, we fight the worm together.
Okay. I guess
I
we
see
need
more
to.
spirits.
We need to officially push Runs to Fire into the pack, and then we'll choose a pack leader. And I guess after that, we can decide what to do next. Whether we should stay here and investigate the mine and all that shebang, or see if Valkenburg wants more things, or whether we should go back to New York and see what's going on there. But that'll be up to the new pack leader.
Speaking of which, I guess we should put it up to a vote.
Who's willing to put themselves forward as the next pack leader?
As I said before, I am.
Okay, are we IC or OC right now?
I'm saying it this IC.
In character.
Okay, we're
I
still
think.
IC. Okay. What kind pack? We war pack? We questing pack? We
we
protection
are-
pack? What kind
we are-
pack?
Questing pack. We find lost wolves for the Valkenburg Institute, and we investigate threats in New York as well. We have two jobs.
Very
So
Scooby-Doo
who
of you.
best for Alpha for questing pack? Arun war pack.
Miles will say, we're the Umbral cleanup crew.
Yeah, that's right.
That's our main thing.
Yeah. We
Go into the Umbra, find the worm taint, make it not be there anymore.
yes.
Then are you saying that Truestrike shouldn't be the pack leader then? In
Well-
this situation?
No.
You don't know.
Good.
True Strike is, no offense, I think he's a bit too rash to be a leader, even if he's the Arun and we were a war pack. I'd prefer Miles, who I know is a bit more steady.
Not that
I'll
Arun
tell
can't
you
be
the
Alpha.
truth. I'll tell you the truth. When we attacked those hunters, I thought it was a colossal screw up. I suggested that we could talk to them. I could shame them for what they'd done. Maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't. And when you charged into just to kill them, then I had to clean up the mess on my own. I made the decision I was going to throw in as pack leader. Then at the shack, I made almost exactly the same mistake and planned the strategy that got Themis and Weavewalker killed. So,
Maybe Heart of Ice then.
Would you accept me as a pack leader if that was the case?
Sure. As long as you don't do anything too dumb.
You don't sound very certain then.
Alpha must listen. If Alpha must listen when time of war, Rune, Umbra, Theurge, humans, Philodox, or Glasswalker, or Galliard, must listen to Pack, not just take charge. Lead, I don't know the right word, but need listen to Pack for Pack's knowledge and Pack's wisdom. Alpha is not just one. Alpha, protector of Pack. Alpha leads the Pack.
Preaching the choir, Run.
Well,
So whoever Alpha must be willing to protect and lead and listen.
So I guess it seems Heart of Ice here is the best candidate.
Are you sure? Let me just put that out there before you make a
Yeah,
decision.
let's. Hard Vice, are you willing to be the leader? Because if you're not, there's no point. But are you willing to take the responsibility?
I do not mind taking responsibility. That is part of my job outside of being a pack member. So if you need me to take responsibility and more or less keep you on the narrow, going between both human politics and Garou politics, I will do my best to keep you outside of danger. And if worst comes to worst, I do have some contingencies that I could use. So, if you'll have me, I will lead you the best I can.
Okay. Then we'll do 2 rituals. We'll actually, why am I saying it? Hard Vice, since you can decide whether we need the ritual to make you leader and a ritual to have Buggy join officially. So you can be in charge of organizing that.
Alright. And
The Moot can be a time of mourning and celebration.
that's right. We remember the fallen, but we never forget, and we celebrate a new beginning.
I know you're the pack leader now, but I do have a suggestion.
Of course.
First, we drop by Valkenburg to give him the report. And second, we grab some beer for the Moot.
Yeah. I'm down
Something
with
we
that.
should also consider. Who did Themis and Weavewalker know in New York? If they just go missing, is it going to be noticed? Are the authorities going to start asking questions?
Themis and Weavewalker were...
That's not a problem we can deal with from here, I think. We'd have to go back.
Nothing can be done about it.
And besides, wouldn't the Foundation know about more, if any relatives or...
They weren't based here. They were based in New York. And Morrison knows.
The only thing they does question is if we're going to need to take the bodies back to New York.
No, I wasn't. I thought we could have their funeral rites here, and we could rather than take their bodies through the worm, like through the moon gate. How would we even do that? Is that even possible?
They walk the spirits. They walk with the spirits now. Here, New York, no matter. They with the spirits. No need to move bodies.
I was about to say, this. Even if I'm from New York, I wouldn't mind being buried in a place like this.
But yeah, that's not. I don't think that's the point Miles is getting to. Is their families might want to bury them? Is I think what he's saying. But
It's a shame, but nothing can be done without. I just don't think anything can be done about it. It is what it is.
And besides, all you could say, realistically, is that both Themis and Weavewalker went out to the mountains camping and they just disappeared. It happens to normal humans. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
actually.
I guess. Sorry.
2 white women disappearing. It isn't that uncommon in New York City.
Not that uncommon in Wyoming and Montana either.
Well, yeah. It's just not uncommon.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
Can we really do that to their families?
We don't
You
have
know
much of a choice.
what happens when people go missing? It destroys people.
Yeah.
Survivors,
But-
never knowing.
But personally, I don't know their families. I don't know who they are.
And what would we tell? I'm not sure what exactly we would tell them without also making us look suspicious.
They
Runs the fire.
Garou, right? They Garou.
Take-
No.
Yes, they are.
If they're they Garou, then Garou is their family. Garou knows what happens. Garou knows they are with the spirits.
Hey,
Spoke about the nation, though.
Runs to Fire. Is there any way you can contact Mother Larissa through Spirit?
True Strike will say this. My parents never talked about the nation at all. I don't even think they knew about the nation.
My family doesn't know either. Or if they do, they never mentioned it to me.
I don't have a
nice.
family. Really.
That must have been
So-
so nice, not knowing.
What? I hope that was a joke because it wasn't a fun time growing up in the New York
Fuck
foster
is
care
wrong
system.
with advice?
Sometimes it's best learning through experience than actually implanted on you when you were just walking. Anyway,
Here's only Ghosts will send Switchwing to go talk to Mother Larissa.
Switchwing.
Can Switchwing still do that? I don't know. They used to be able to just hop all over the place in the Umbra. I don't know.
No, that's not a problem because they are in fact spirits. Switchwing is
Yeah.
inhabiting the body of an actual raven, right?
Switchwing is in her collar. In her hosting.
Yes, this is
Her
true.
hosting is the GPS.
Yes, yeah.
And
of
it's
course.
just
I
a
knew
host
that.
thingy.
Why am I? It's because Gretch is in the body of an actual rat.
Yeah.
But yeah, Switchwing can do that, and I think you will have. You must have by now a signal system between the two of you, where Box vibrates a little bit to answer to you in some way.
Morse code?
Yeah.
Like Morse code?
With the companion and the host thing, I don't know, they don't have spirit speech anymore. I just assumed it was the telepathic spirit speech, but yeah, we can do.
So yeah, you will absolutely be able to have a conversation with Switchwing, and that means that the little box is gonna go dormant for a while because Switchwing is out
Yeah.
flying in the Umbra. But Mother Larissa is also a theurge, so if anyone over there is going to notice Switchwing coming in, it's gonna be her, right?
By the way, out of character, does Runs to Fire just have a collar on at all times, like a GPS collar or something?
No, it's oh my god, the
It's like
the
a tracking
implant.
chip.
You can
Yeah.
it's a GPS tracker under the skin, like the pet skit. I'm spacing. I play too much Star Wars. I want to say implant.
It's an implant for people too.
You feel a Morse code vibration under your skin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucked up, I love it.
that sounds horrible, honestly.
She's a glasswalker.
Yeah.
You probably like it, you little glasswalker freak.
Yep.
Different all over the place.
Yeah, actually, how common would it be for a lupus-born to become a glasswalker?
Oh,
Very rare.
In the old editions, the Glasswalkers had secret breeding grounds for lupus and stuff, and they came up weird. But anyway, not that
No,
rare.
a natural born lupus glasswalkers are very rare, and we're very treasured
They are.
by.
I think
the
the
Glasswalkers.
Glasswalkers have the lowest rate of Wolfborn of any tribe, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are so city-bound, which makes it much harder to find an actual wolf.
Yeah.
Wolves
And,
cities
they're-
don't get along so
Wonder
well.
if they're
And-
gonna-
They're
Honestly,
afraid of losing the wolf, so any lupus they find can reinvigorate the wolf inside the tribe.
Honestly, it makes me wonder if eventually the Glasswalkers will end up like those Japanese werewolves.
Like
Mm.
Stargazers, you mean?
No, the Hacken.
Oh,
Yeah, there's like a specific werewolf tribe from Japan.
Yeah,
that
the
doesn't
Hacken.
have. Yeah, the Hacken, and they don't have the lupus form. They have Hamid, Galabro, Krinos, and what's the other form? Hispo, but they don't have lupus.
That's sad.
And they don't have lupus born. And the lore reason why the Hacken don't is because the wolves in Japan were just completely wiped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really
anyway.
interesting stuff.
Oh, memories.
If we still have Heartwise, if we still have time before the Moot, I think we should call in on the Valkenburg Foundation while we're still here in
Yes.
Wyoming.
Yes, there's a lot to be discussed, anyhow. So I think we should go, or
Yeah,
they come back. before the
Stormspeaker
meet
will
comes.
go since it seems to be that telling Gretchen bad news is his job.
Oh, that's the thing is that Heartwise has been voted scapegoat.
I have no issue to tell Gretchen everything that's
No,
happened.
and Skitters and Shadows will tell her anything as well.
All right, let's go give some Imaginary Lady some bad news. We will
Okay.
politely, we will
Pile
politely say
into the truck.
goodbye. Oh, it is big. This truck actually. Good question. That's a good question. Do we hang up for our lives in the back?
What was that? Sorry, I missed that.
How big is the truck
big enough.
that we're gonna? Okay, good enough.
Even the smaller pickup truck can hold 5 people.
Oh,
Unless maybe they're one of them small Japanese pickups.
yeah, that's probably too small for.
We all
Yeah,
packed
you wouldn't have
tiny
that
truck.
kind of. You would not have that kind of truck out here. Out
Oh,
here,
no,
you
no.
know, a big ass 4-wheeler. Yeah.
Everything's a 4-wheeler here.
Yeah, you would not have one of them little beep beep Japanese trucks.
All right,
Ford
let's go to
150s.
Valken. 250s.
This
paying
era
$5
would-
million in road repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this era, do those massive pickup trucks already exist yet? Or would it be like a Ford Bronco?
No, this is
The
supposed
massive
to
ones
be
don't exist
like,
yet. No, it'd be
in 10 years, they
more
will be
reasonable.
monstrously sized. Yeah.
Yeah, they're reasonable at this stage still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't gotten to the child mulchers just yet, but we're getting there.
Child mulchers. Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
All right, then let's go and pick up some beer. And by beer, it means piss on someone's parade.
Yeah.
Then actually grab beer.
Yeah, and
watch
actually
it.
grab some hard liquor, honestly, at this point. With everything that's happened to the last couple of days. So off to the Valkenburg we go.
Yay.
No yay.
No yay.
No yay, we only go there for bad news apparently, not even good news.
I mean,
Oh yeah, while we're there, we should talk to all those brothers' names who are
Me.
related to Sam Haight, just in case we can get any information about Sam from them.
The Carney brothers.
Yeah.
yeah, they are of course committed, so you know that could be tricky.
I think we might be better to ask the doctors.
Yeah.
No, I talked to the doctor about Sam Haight already, and he wasn't exactly a font of information. He was the opposite of a font of information, in fact. Whatever that would be.
A desert of information?
Well, maybe they, like, even
Well,
brothers who
well,
just raving, maybe their ravings will make some sort of sense now we know what we know.
Yeah, maybe.
We're going to Gretchen, apparently. And she is going to be eager to see you because, let's face it, you've been doing some work, and I think she's not going to be the only one who's eager to see you, honestly.
That's never the good news.
It's just good news. Just good news. You defeated the threat, didn't you?
Yeah, at certain cost, but yeah.
You'll find yourself up in Gretchen Valkenburg's office after driving for a couple of hours. She's definitely not gonna make you wait. She will very quickly allow you to come in there. She's a well-groomed woman in her early 40s, strong features, conservative business attire, black hair, blue eyes. She's not the only one in this room because the director of operations, Mr. Helms, broad man in his late 30s with a very serious look on his face and a very bushy mustache. He has the most mustache of anyone around here.
Ron Swanson looking ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I wasn't gonna fade that out. Who wants to come with us? Who wants to come with us to get yelled at?
I'll go.
I do.
Okay, good.
Everybody's
Okay, good.
coming.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, we can all get yelled at equally. All right.
Very well. Yeah, Gretchen is there. Helms is there. They have chairs. You're going to be provided with chairs. They're even going to provide you with coffee, should you want some, or water for runs to fire.
Absolutely. In the day that it's been, Jake has slept half an hour.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Coffee,
sense.
man.
Buggy will sniff the coffee and wrinkle her nose and go for the water.
And as she does that, Jake just says, "Your loss."
She just needs to get used to the taste of coffee one day. In any case.
This is the coffee that's like the Bill Hicks joke. You want the 32 ounce or the large?
Yeah.
Miss Valkenburg is in fact a kinfolk. She is not true Garou at all, but she is also the director because it was in fact her grandfather who started this foundation a long time ago. And he was true Garou. Helms is Garou. He is a Glasswalker Arun, which is a combination.
Love the rare combos.
Yep.
That's like the combination that laser sights were made for.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. But
He's
yeah,
like one of those tactical guys who wears body armor while going to Walmart.
yes,
Oh,
probably.
no.
No doubt Ms. Valkenburg and Mr. Helms will notice that the pack looks a little bit different now. And they will... Yeah, is anyone trying to hide your emotions here? Just curious.
I mean,
Nope.
Austin is just normal stoicism.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, Buggy's just sniffing around everything, but she didn't really know people who died.
The recent loss is just written upon your faces, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Miles is more and more internalizing the idea that the deaths were his fault. So it's his job to explain what happened with the fight with the Scrags. But we'll leave the story of what Sam Haight has done up to Heart of Ice, since he can do the time vision thing, so he's the only one who actually saw it happen.
Miss Valkenburg will chair the meeting. It feels very Glasswalker-y, doesn't it? Stormspeaker and Runs to Fire.
And also, I forgot to mention that also Jake is wearing a bandage over his left eye because...
Yeah, we need to fix that, don't we?
Need to fix that.
No, the picture. He needs to have a big scar over his left eye and everything.
Or an eye patch.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we're on our eye patch orc.
Yes.
It's given pirate.
Which eye is it?
I was born on National Talk Like a Pirate Day. That's true.
So there you go. So
Which
You
eye
want to
is
ask the limits of werewolf regeneration. What's the stuff that we can lose that we can't grow back?
I like to think it's vibes based, like everything
Yes.
in World of
Yes, it
Darkness.
is.
vice space. Good to know.
It's everything.
Good to know.
Everything's vice-based.
Yeah, it's magical, but it's also a battle scar, so
It is also-
it should be worn with honor.
Indeed.
If it's appropriately cool enough, then it stays.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You didn't have the missing eye a week ago.
Did we shove that thing back in there and healed, or is that gone?
No, that's gone. It got obliterated.
Okay, good to know. I'm trying to remember. It's coming back to me now.
Yeah. One of the claws got just the right angle to just turn it into goo. It's gone.
Thank you for sharing that vision.
Yeah. You'll have to live with it forever if you saw it happen. I'm not sure you did see it happen. But Ms. Valkenburg will, of course. She's noticing your new scar, True Strike. She's noticing absences and presences. I sense, she says, that things came to a head.
Yeah, things went tits up.
She's gonna raise one of her eyebrows over that particular language and then realize who she's talking to and just let it slide. Please fill us in.
We found the place Samuel Haight was staying. Have we told you about Haight yet?
The last time we were here, we knew about Sam Haight and we knew about the mining company trying to strip mine all around Valkenburg, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
But out of character, did we tell Valkenburg that?
Yeah, Stormspeaker reported everything we knew at the time, the last time we were here.
All right. So Jay continues and he says, we found where Haight was staying, and we decided to initially attack from the Umbra. And there were about a dozen Banes there. Tough ones. Themis and Weavewalker were killed.
Well, Miss Valkenburg is very composed, but even she's going to lower her head, and you can see her chin tremble a little bit. She's taking a deep breath. Helms is surprisingly the one who is better at hiding his emotions and just keeping that bottled up. That stoic boomer generation man, because he is in fact not Gen X, I don't think. This is 92, remember?
It
and
is.
If he is in his 30s, I believe that makes him a boomer man.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, in the early 60s, late 50s.
Shit, dude.
Either a boomer or early Gen X.
Yeah,
Very
he's late
early.
30s even, so...
Okay.
Everybody
Yeah.
draws the line. Seems to draw the line slightly differently about where the different generations start. I was born in 1980, so I think I'm just the absolute fag end of Generation X.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
But
I'm
Helms is-
67. I was born 67, so barely Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm square in the middle of Gen X. Anyway, Helms is a boomer man, which means that you don't show emotions, because that's not what you do. You are stoic. You take it like a man. You man up. All those words that we're familiar with. And I don't think you're gonna see a whole lot of trembling from his chin. Though, if anything, I think you might see his eyes get more intent, and there is going to be a flash of anger in there, because no doubt he just gained a point of rage from hearing these news. Even as Ms. Valkenburg is sitting there and trying to compose herself.
At this
Helms
point,
would-
Miles and Helms probably sort of subconsciously adjust their bulletproof vests at the same time.
Yeah, that could
God.
be. He's what of these Banes? What of Haight?
Haight appeared in the Umbra and saw us battling the Banes, and he fled. He used some sort of talon or talisman to disappear.
He looked terrified. Considering his background, you wouldn't think so, but when he looked into the Umbra and saw us going at it with the scrags, he truly looked horrified by what he was seeing.
You will hear Miss Valkenburg say, "We have..." Her voice is trembling. "We have now, over the past few years, lost a full questing pack, and now 2 more." She's just gonna put her head in her hands a bit and just... Excuse me, I just need a moment. Helms will continue drilling you since Valkenburg is obviously shaken. So Haight has gotten away.
Yes.
Are there any good news at all?
We cleared the veins that were created by his foul experiment. We found out what he was doing. We found his face, his name. We know he exists, so we can track him now.
Blight's cleared as well.
Yeah, the blight's cleared.
Well, that's good at least.
And we learned that it's possible for a human being to become a Garou.
You should probably ease into that last aspect.
No, I was... Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think...
Not Garou, Abomination.
Oh.
She sounds the word out carefully.
That kind of snapped Valkenburg right back into reality again. Excuse me?
That's...
Use the pelts from the lost pack and the pelts of 2 other werewolves, Garou, Fenris, and Black Spiral Dancer, to perform a ritual to turn himself into a werewolf.
I think you're gonna hear a very loud snap as Mr. Helms... He's been holding a pen all this time and taking some notes, and that pen just crumbles under his fist. It just snaps. And then he just stands up, because you have given him a second rage point on top of everything else. And he's just...
You really should have eased that into him.
Paces backwards and forwards. He's gonna grip the backside of his own chair, and there might be that his fingers are just ripping into the upholstery a little bit. And you didn't manage to stop him.
He did have a fetish that teleported him away from us. If we had one of them, we could have probably chased him. But unfortunately, we didn't even know that he could use talismans, because I didn't even know that I didn't know that.
I guess
And
We thought he was
Bane's
a human
killing
Mark one.
Garou.
Yeah,
We
we thought he was a
busy
human Mark
things.
1, not that he had magic powers.
I guess that brings us on to the next thing. We need to find out, first of all, where he is, and also more about this talisman he has, so that we can maybe find some sort of way to counter it.
Mika that turns to Heart of Ice and says, "You're the only one who saw him in in Krenos form. What does he look like? Is he convincing? Does he look like any other Garou, or does he look messed up? At least what colour is he, so we can recognize him again if we see him?"
Heart of Ice didn't see him in Krenos or wolf form.
Yeah, it was just Galabro.
Yeah, it was
We
just-
all saw him in Glabro form.
Yeah.
I only saw him in human form as he absorbed everything. And he speaks up and says, firstly, he didn't change into Krynos form. He was still human from he completed that ritual. It took him several hours in the Pelt of 5 fallen Garou to create this strange abomination, as my friend Runs to Fire likes to put out. And Hayes has planned this for years. He dug up the ritual room years and years ago, and slowly but surely he gathered the items to create that ritual. And when
The thing I've been wondering about, why dig out the basement? What's special about it? Why waste half your life doing that? Why not just buy a house with a basement if you wanted one?
Maybe he wanted the isolation. He knew. I don't know. We don't know what went into his ritual, really. We only saw, besides the 5 skins, it could be other things. It could be where it needed to take place was important, and it had other components. As well as that, a lot of his time could be learning the routines that went on here, and we don't know. Maybe he went.
And besides all that, even if it isn't for any ritual-related reasons, maybe as a trophy hunter, he just likes the privacy. And
That could be privacy
the
too.
wolves.
Honestly, we need to. One thing we need to do is a full background check on this dude and find out
Where he might have
Like-
went.
where he came from, what his deal is, and where he could go.
And since he's connected to the Carney brothers, they may know something. What do you know about them? What state are they in?
Not good, of course, she says. Valkenburg says. Any of our patients, really.
But are they in Compass Mentis for the most part, or are they just out this wall crazy?
I have to consult with Dr. Keating, of course, but they seem to be having difficulties communicating with anyone but themselves. They are twins, and I think that has the combination of being twins, Garou, and Lost Ones has affected their minds in a very unique way.
Okay, so they're basically the Mitford sisters, or no, not the Mitford sisters. Yeah, maybe they're basically they're only talking to each other. Okay, well,
I'm going to have to consult with Dr. Keating, of course, but it could be. I'll share with you if there is anything you might gain from that.
Oh, and one thing is we also don't know if Haight could do this ritual to another person. So I would recommend you guys here at the Valkenburg Foundation change up your routines and stuff, because he had you guys down. He had all your. He went through your security, so you guys need to change it up. He probably has all your code words and stuff.
And aside from Haight, as you already know, Pentex is building a mine near here, so that goes double for Pentex.
Actually, do any of us have the artistic skill to draw what at least human Sam or
We know what he looks like. We have his ID.
Yep, you do.
Oh, we've got a photo ID of him, so at least we
Yeah.
know what his human form looks
Absolutely.
like.
You grabbed stuff from the mining company and so on, so you can absolutely share that. Yeah, Victor Helms, I have been corresponding with this Master Haight. You asked me about this before. He's looking at Skitters now because you were sitting in the lunchroom with him.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I have documentation going quite a good distance back involving these donations. I always saw them as the donations of the mining company rather than Mr. Haight himself. And I have been just as fooled as you have been. He's just fuming. He's an Arun director of operations, and he has just been realized that he has been taken for an absolute fool. It creates a double problem for us, because not only have we been fooled like this, which is painful, but you put an end to it, and that's that. I will certainly talk to our head of security, and we will go over if there's anything that needs to be changed, including in the Umbra, to ensure that the Valkenburg grounds are continuously intact. I've never actually met Mr. Haight himself. He leans over and just looks deeply into Skitters and Shadow's eyes. I've never actually met Haight myself. All I got was correspondence and checks in the mail.
How lucky for you.
And when we all the stuff we cleared out from the mine, do we actually have a map of where Pentex is planning to mine around Valkenburg?
Yeah, there are maps. There's also descriptions of the parcels of land they were looking at.
Yes, a Stormspeaker will also get this stuff out and unroll the map on the table that shows where the major cuts are planned. And we'll say, beyond general Pentex worm blight scheming and just destroying stuff in general, does this pattern look like it would do anything specific beyond that?
Maybe Miss Valken will be very uncomfortable, right? It's possible that they know about what we do. I don't think this is a coincidence at all. Mr. Haight must have been in communication with his employers. But it is also clear that he himself has achieved at least one of his objectives with what he has done. Now that all of us know about what he has done, you have informed the Pure Heart Sept, or should we?
We've talked to them, yes.
Very good. So every Garou in this area is now aware of Mr. Haight and his doings, as well as the mining companies. If you don't mind, feel free to, or I can do it as well. I have good relations with them, says Ms. Valkenburg. I can speak to the chief of the Pure Heart Sept and ask them to follow up on the mining question, because frankly, our staff is needed for other tasks. The one group that we have for us to do this type of outwards facing work that does not involve patients and the security of this facility and the locating of patients is you, the questing pack. Which I suppose means that, and she's going to look at Heart of Ice and Runs to Fire, that you are joining the questing pack. You are more than welcome to. The fact that you are standing here together with the three others speaks highly of what you have done together with them. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think there is a more worthy task. Every single lost one that we can rehabilitate and reintroduce to the Garou nation is another warrior for Gaia. And there are too few of you, isn't there?
That they are. May I say something now that we're slowly wrapping this up?
Of course.
Go ahead.
I would like to request, as part of this pack, that keep a closer eye on your Wolfborn if you ever release them, especially with how things are going now. The Wolfborn that you released earlier got too close to human civilization, and with everything that Pentex is going through and Samuel Haight, it's dangerous for them to be around humankind, to be as free as before. It is unfortunate, but we cannot risk another 3 to fall to another hunter, especially now that we know that some have abilities to mimic our abilities with a ghastly ritual.
Hear ya, boss.
Sick Garou stay in hard dens, but not healthy Garou, right?
Of course This is Mr. No.
In some sense, some of the risk may have passed now. Sam Haight's got what he wanted, and presumably he's not going to tell anybody else how to do what he just did. He wants the power for himself. So from now on, the threat will just be mortal hunters, not this weird occult abomination stuff.
However,
We don't know that.
there is the threat of Pentex.
Yeah, and Pentex was like,
Helms
I
is
guess-
just gonna growl a little bit under his mustache, and we can assume nothing.
yeah. Austin, do you think we should deal with the mine before we return to New York?
Valkenburg will actually shake her head.
No.
We heard news from the community about several wounded hunters and some killed hunters out in the woods, very close to a certain pack's wandering territory, and that has, of course, raised a lot of alarms within the community. Apparently, there is a new rock star or music star in the community who many of the farmers are speaking very highly of. She's going to glance towards Stormspeaker, which is a good thing for us. But since Tooth and Claw has already been deployed against the hunters in this area, and apparently some of those hunters, I think all of them, were in fact under the employment of the mining company, I would recommend not taking such actions against them. I am going to try, and I understand that you are all justifiably angry and concerned. I am too, though I don't feel the rage in my heart like you do. But let me try this first, please. I'm going to try to take the mining company to court
Got it.
regarding the land purchases and also illegal hunting practices. If not a criminal case, then perhaps a civil suit will be enough to discourage them. There are more ways to fight the worm than with the gifts and strength that you have inherited in your blood. There is also the way of the paper trail, she says, and just puts her hand on one of her binders. I'll try that. It is
Well,
quieter and
I
could
hope you-
disrupt their activities.
I hope you can wield the paper like I wield my claws.
I don't have the gifts that you have, but a quick wit and a sharpened mind will have to be my allies instead.
As you mentioned, a lot of the people in town know me. You want me to try and rile them up against the expansion of the mine?
As long as you can do without violating the veil, yes, that would not be a bad idea. Having popular support for my civil suit would go a long way, and would also give a more positive image to the Valkenburg Foundation for the locals. They have always been a bit skeptical because people who are healthy tend to be, let's just say that mental health is not something that many people want to speak openly about necessarily, and it has long been associated with a lot of shame and stigma in the community. So if we can undo some of it, that would be great.
Yeah.
You have to remember that we know that it's still stigmatized in 2026. This is 1992. It's just like, yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about...
Yeah, we're at the level where it's okay to say the R slur.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's saying the R star at in this day and age. That is,
Yeah.
I remember because I was there.
Oh, you're autistic? Oh, so you're a R slur.
Yep.
And the
Yeah,
Stormspeaker will say as well, I'll ask permission as well from the Sept of the Pure Heart because they have kinfolk working at the mine. So if I start stirring things up, it'll affect them as well. But since you say yes, and if they say yes as well, I'll start trying to persuade the town to turn against new mining project.
she will not. Yeah, Rain Man came out 5 years ago in this, 4 years ago even in this world. So
And yeah, that was
the
like the
general
best.
public has just recently heard the word autism. It's a new word. And I think everybody believes that it's basically Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man. The whole spectrum thing is not widely understood at this stage.
At this point, they're still blaming it on refrigerator mothers.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, at this stage, it's like, all right, then you got the arslers, you got the children raised wrong, and you got the maniacs.
Yeah, all of the above. Which, you gotta give credit where credit is due. The fact that White Wolf published Valkenburg Foundation an entire campaign about mental health problems in 1992 is pretty much as on the edge of things as you can get. They were not shy of
Sometimes they use their
psychology.
edginess for good instead of evil.
Exactly.
Yeah. It really it's a double-edged dagger, because you get cutting shit like Valkenburg Foundation, which is really goated, but then you also get Wendigos.
Yeah, and the label Métis, which I don't know how that was received in Canada, where the First Nation lives.
Yeah, I have to
I don't think
imagine. I have to imagine not a lot of people gave a shit in the United States, because we still call Native Americans Indians here.
Yep, that's the official. Yeah, it's a slur in Canada. We say
Yeah.
First Nation, Métis, and Inuit. That's the 3 categories of indigenous populations here. So yeah, and they could have done the basic research on that, but nope, they did. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, it just doesn't even make sense as a label.
No, it doesn't. I know it does.
Think of it this way: the slur for Métis in the game is mule.
Yeah.
So that's where they were going with that.
Yeah,
No,
mule makes a lot more sense, but
the
like,
reason-
see, that's all of Hamid born, honestly.
Yeah.
The reason why they use, I don't know, I wasn't in the room, but so the Métis people of Canada are traditionally were outcasts from both white and indigenous society because they were mixed. Very early
They were
mixed.
they were French Creole and also Native
it
American.
was the French voyeurs who made families with the indigenous peoples, and enough of them in the same spot, the Red River Métis, what would later become one of our provinces. And they were ostracized on both sides and created their own community, and so I can see the whole horrible word half-breed be, in the eyes of the game makers, transposed into the mules and the breed that shouldn't be.
Yeah. Honestly, Métis as an insult honestly sounds more like something like historically educated lupus-born would call a Hamid-born.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. Anyway, it's...
And also, it reminds me of Americans living near Roanoke.
It was a terrible choice, but there it was. I see how they connected the dots, even if they shouldn't have.
Well, again, it was the late 80s, early 90s.
It was the early 90s.
And let's keep in mind World of Darkness, and they were very blatant at the beginning of every introduction and every book.
Oh, yeah.
That this was the World of Darkness and not politically correct.
Yeah.
Because when this came out, I was going to UC Santa Cruz hippy dippy school, and it was the height of the political correctness, the start of the political correctness movement. And so they were very clear.
Yeah,
This is
and
not
I mean,
PC.
the whole "you are literally playing the vampire" was hardly politically correct at the time.
And then they came out with Black Dog, so it's just kind of Black Dog Publishing, and took it even further.
Carry it.
And like the
even further.
Gorilla is basically just vampire version of the Epsteinites, as I like to refer to them as.
I don't know if I would go that far.
No, the vampires aren't that evil. Okay, let's
They're like
That's-
3 steps below them.
Anyway,
let's move.
yeah. So, what is the next step? You have debriefed with Valkenburg and Helms. They will want to take this in and process it properly because they're still a bit overwhelmed by all the news. But Miss Valkenburg will say, as a parting, you have done everything you could, as far as I'm concerned, and my heart breaks for you. And if you need to take a few days, we fully understand that. I, for one, am proud of your work.
Thank you.
If you tell them about the funeral rites tonight, they will want to know about it. They will want to
Yeah.
know about the ceremonies because they're
Yeah.
expecting that they will have to do the funeral rites because it's the questing pack of the Foundation. But
I'll tell Helms that we're going to have a funeral rite and a proper rite for Buggy to join the questing pack tonight if you guys want to come.
they will nod to each other. We will inform the staff, and there will be at least some representation from the Foundation. There is no doubt about that. I don't know, says Valkenburg, if I'm allowed to attend as a kinfolk, but Mr. Helms certainly can.
All right.
Good. Do you need anything else from us?
Not at present, but we will be in touch again when the work
Alright.
Yeah,
does
and
not
it-
wait for anyone.
Yes. And be careful around that mine, Miss Valkenburg. You don't want to end up like another Silkwood.
That is quite right. No, I'm going to do my work through paper, up the paper trail, through the city, and through legal representation.
Yes.
Do you
Exactly.
need help with that?
Exactly how you would end up like poor Karen Silkwood. Have you ever seen that film?
But-
Meryl Streep
But
plays it.
that Jake just coughs loudly. So why
know,
don't we grab some beer?
Just be careful, okay? Watch your back. Don't go anywhere alone.
Do
You
you?
know, Miles says
Uh,
the last time we were at a worm mine, things got hectic, and he just scratches at one of his bullet scars.
I feel like I've been up more than I can chew. The more I hear about this,
Everything is fine. Just fine.
I'm not. I'm only 32. I'm not ready to have gray hairs by 33. Thank you very much.
You have
Sorry, but that came free with your being a Garou, son.
Miss Valkenburg, I'm sure you don't want Meryl Streep to play you in some biography that will be made in 3 years' time.
She is not in a mood for jokes right now, but she also
I'm not
knows
joking.
that you are a ragabash, so she will just.
But I am not joking. I'm trying
No,
to get.
she will just. She might misread you in that sense, or maybe not. No, maybe she's. Very
Depends
well.
on the
Shall we
insight
get on
check.
with the day then? Which
Yeah.
is Glasswalker director code for this meeting is now adjourned.
Very proper. Very...
Do you guys have a phone here?
Of course they have a phone.
Can I use your phone?
Of course you can use the phone.
I'm at boarding school.
Phones cost money, and it's polite to ask if
It's
you could
polite.
use people's phone.
Oh no, the True Strikes icon is getting wacky.
I'll fix it.
It's a miracle. His eye's back.
His eyes back.
What? Oh, okay. I see what happened here. No, it should be. Don't know why it did that, but okay.
I have an idea.
Yes.
Fixed it.
It depends on. Oh, yeah, he fixed it. I think. Never mind.
There
We
it
don't need
is.
to- Yeah.
Okay. I was worried now, but you said that.
Yeah, there's a reading room here. You can all on the first floor. Good. Buggy can curl up by the fireplace. So yeah, you wanted to use a phone? Someone wants to use a phone?
Yeah, I want to call Jane and tell her maybe I'll be another few days robbing stuff.
Robin, let me explain what.
Does anyone else hear this?
I don't know.
Wait.
If people want to listen to my private
Oh, no.
conversation with my girlfriend, they can.
No,
I mean,
it's like
This
Big
part of
Avenue.
Ice hears this staying longer robbing stuff. It's just going to be in the. I may have just made a massive mistake.
Look, if there's one thing I know about homeless people, it's that they gossip more than teenage girls. Jake will gladly listen in.
That is survival.
It's like everybody's just gonna listen in, like pretending to be doing something else, just
Yeah,
reading
Jake,
the book
like,
upside
picks up,
down.
like encyclopedia. And
That's
pretends-
like we're just
Silly.
listening.
Silly human born thinking they have this idea of privacy.
Also, remember that I can sense your emotions too. I can sense how you're feeling. Oh
And then
god.
Miles has probably just pulled off one of the bookshelves like a photocopy of an article about Vietnam veterans that's just called something like "Living with Moral Pain." And he's sat down in a chair reading
It's
it.
actually a copy of First Blood, signed by David Morrell. Anyway,
And Jake pretends to read it with you.
All right. Yep. Yeah, Skitters. Oh, we're gonna have a conversation with Jade, are we?
yeah.
It's been a while since you had a conversation. Oh, that's not Jade. That's
A
not-
couple of days. So, yeah, that's why I'm ringing in, because we're technically in a loving relationship.
Fuck it.
Yes.
I'm gonna roll persuasion composure
Why?
for the funsies.
For the fun. Uh-oh.
That would
Yeah.
okay. You succeeded better than you usually do.
Yeah, so Jake's just pretending to read the book while listening in.
Does Jane have a phone? You must have gotten her a phone, right? Like,
Yeah. We
A big
have a phone
freaky
established in our secret hideout.
yeah.
It's
okay.
like a pay phone that we.
Oh, that you and you. Okay, so fair enough. She's going to be at home sooner or later in the secret hideout. It would make sense that she's there now, or I guess, because it's what time is it now in New York? It's Sunday night. It's gonna be like 8 o'clock there, so maybe she's there. Why not? She's gonna pick up the phone. Hello? She's expecting it to be you, because I don't think anybody else knows the number to that place.
Hey, darling, it's me. This trip might take me longer than I thought. I've got onto a big lead, but the timing isn't working out as quickly as I thought. I might have to stay away a bit longer, miss you a bit longer. So I was just ringing in to tell you I miss you. And I'll
Well,
be
I
home
miss
soon.
you too. Just tell me how big the hall is.
It's probably not big enough for the amount of trouble we're going through, but we'll see. I've had so many bad leads lately, I feel like I'm in a rut. I need something to go about.
I need something too, and that is you here.
Yeah, I want to be there, but I don't know. New York it's getting hard in New York. Do you know that Joe Messina was thinking of bringing in a tax? That'll make it hard for me to work. I need to make I need to make money while the sun shines for a while, because I might have to keep my head down for the next few months once he actually gets out of prison.
Are you telling me things are getting is this heat on me too?
No, it's just on me, because
How do you know that?
because what? Damn it, I forgot the name of the person
Er,
I put as my other touchstone. Oh shit.
that would be Gallo, no?
Yeah, oh yeah. Because I worked for Frank Gallo, like Joe Messina does own Frank, and he might think he owns me. So I need to be making money while he's still a guest of Uncle Sam. So that's why I'm taking risks I wouldn't normally be taking.
All right. You are trying to persuade her, but you are very charismatic and nice, and if there is one thing she doesn't have a lot of, it's actually insight, maybe a little bit. Do you have your... I'm gonna demand 3 successes here to beat her 2 automatic ones when taking half.
Okay.
Did we get anything valuable from Sam Haight's cabin that Skitters could use to pass off as his share of the haul?
I did get money. I did get some petty cash, but that's not enough.
Yeah,
W-
some petty cash.
I'll have to rob a bank while I'm here or something.
Yes, that's really gonna make the community who's already on edge much calmer. Robbing the one bank in the county.
They won't be chasing
I
wolves.
think he's
will they?
gonna have to get into street fights and betting just to keep Skitters on the straight and narrow.
It's fair that they would not pay attention to the wolves as much if you rob a bank. All right.
If I robbed the bank, that would take the heat off the werewolves, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
You have 2 successes,
if
but
I
you
stop
do
him?
need that
Stop
third
if I think
one,
of you.
don't you? I can see a willpower check coming in. There we go. She is now convinced everything is fine. It's just as you say. You know,
There is no war in Bong Sing Se.
exactly. Lying to your partner is a perfectly acceptable thing to do when you're Garou. You just have to sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, because it would break the veil for me to tell her that I'm a
It
werewolf.
would. On the other hand, if you marry her and begin a family, you will gain renown within the Garou community.
If I marry her,
Yeah. And-
if we were going to get married, we'd probably be married by this stage.
And if you
Look.
get a family with her, kids
Yeah,
of
and
your
again-
one
own,
of
little
the Garu's
pups.
sacred duties to fuck nasty.
It's to have children, a new generation of kinfolk and potential Garou. That is.
So have they figured out the percentages? If you have children with a regular human
No,
compared
so
to having
I-
children with a kinfolk, if that alters the likelihood that your children will be Garou?
Oh, absolutely,
No,
because a regular human doesn't have any Garou genes at all. So.
I think the Glasswalkers have tried to work the percentages, but it's magic, so it kind of
Yeah. It's
doesn't
that
to
point
have
of
sense.
mystical.
Yeah, to have a Garou child, you have to have a Garou with a kinfolk. That could work.
A Garou
it's
with a
still
normal
No
human.
likelihood.
If a Garou has a child with a normal human, the
The kids will be
children
kinfolk.
either will be kinfolk or could be kinfolk.
yeah.
I think
They
they're
will
pretty
be
guaranteed.
kin-
Yeah, they will be kinfolk.
Kinfolk, but yeah, you can have the whole idea is, especially again, early 90s, the whole idea is the male werewolves especially are supposed to spread themselves out and plant seeds wherever they can, because
Oh my
there is
God.
a slim chance a human woman could still produce.
Mr. Seed's feed and seed.
Oh my god! Can you never say that sentence again?
Wow.
That was a sentence that we did not expect to hear very often.
Chris went down my throat wrong as I was trying that. Okay.
Somebody put that in the game quotes channel.
That's me. I think you caused me to start joking. You know, it rarely happens.
Yeah. Everyone take free aggravated willpower damage.
Are we going back to the Pure Heart Sept now? For the
Yeah.
actual rituals?
Yeah, on the way we'll just pick up some hard liquor, but we're going back to the Sept.
That background looks like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
A little bit it does.
Let's throw some aliens on top of everything else.
It's a landmark in this part.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Aliens.
Yes, you are the aliens, let's face it.
We
Nobody
are.
remembers exactly what they saw, but I am willing to bet dollars to donuts that there's at least one situation where humans who have been caught in the delirium will blame Garou activity on UFOs and aliens.
Oh,
Because
sure.
The collective unconscious has gone to that.
And Sasquatch.
Yes, Sasquatch, absolutely.
There is one of the flaws of the Garou. One of them is it makes you have a human face while in
Yeah.
Krino's form. I like to think that one image of Bigfoot, you know the one, is
Yeah, turning over
Garou
his
with
shoulder.
the claw.
Yeah. Okay, back to this set.
Yes, exactly. We are going to have the ritual of mourning, and the ritual of accomplishment, and the ritual of forming the pack and choosing a pack leader. It's gonna be one heck of a moot, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
It appears that way.
we better have brought a lot of beer. We're gonna need it.
And we were also going to do gifts and rituals and all that stuff too, right?
And everything, yes.
Yeah.
The representatives from Valkenburg Foundation will turn out to be Lucius and Kanaktale. Kanaktale being a Wolfborn Silent Strider Gaillard.
Ooh.
And Lucius also being a Silent Strider, but he is a Homid Philodox. Which is, I guess that's normal, because those are the two who are far-ranging scouts of the Foundation. They are the ones who are tasked with finding lost ones, finding Garou that are going through the first change and not coping well with that, and either alerting you to their presence or getting them back to the Foundation properly. So most of the others at the Foundation, they are very homebodies in the sense that all of their duties are in the Foundation and not outside of it. While Gretchen has great relations with Takakané, this is a Garou-only situation tonight, and as a kinfolk, she cannot attend. This is still now, let's see now, we're still in February, and you know what? Why not have a little bit of, this is Wyoming after all, why not have a little bit of snow tonight? And these are the Black Hills here, and the path is marked with lantern light and silent figures. There are wolves that are padding through the trees. There are people in coats. They're standing shoulder to shoulder. The breath is steaming. The eyes are down. There's not going to be any laughing. There's also no performed grief. Yep.
I guess looking around at the snow, Jake does find it funny that one of the first nights the pack quested together was in the middle of winter and it was snowing. And for their funerals for it to also be snowing is, I don't know, something about it is nostalgic in a weird way.
A full circle moment.
Exactly.
Since this is a sept primarily made up by Gale Stalkers and Children of Gaia, you will hear the drums. And you will hear the crying of the dancers. Which I shall not try to mimic because I can't do it enough to give it the proper dignity that it deserves. There are 2 shrouds on funeral pyres, really. They've been prepared as appropriately by tribal kin. There's going to be at least a Black Fury in the sept, and there's going to be at least one Glasswalker in the sept, even though they're very few compared to some of the other tribes. It's going to be Takakané himself who begins the rite with a low call. It almost sounds like wind pushing through antlers, and you hear a chorus from the tree line. It's a steady note of acknowledgement. The sound of a nation refusing to let the dead vanish into silence. They're going to let you, because you are the pack members, stand, and I feel like it's going to be Stormspeaker's job here as the Gaillard, and tell of some of the glorious or some of the renown, some of the stories that gave Themis and Weavewalker the renown they now hold. What kind of moments? One moment for each, for brevity's sake, but I'm sure you're going to tell stories that takes a long time. But for the sake of brevity, Roger, what moments from their careers would Stormspeaker bring to light?
I think for Themis, it has to be how she was the strongest member of the pack and how she just punch out worm creatures.
She did. And the Black Fury of the Sept will just howl in delight at this. What about Weavewalker then?
I think Weavewalker
Lived up to her name.
I think the expertise with with going into the Umbra, so that we could essentially just reliably go into the Umbra and clean it out whenever we wanted to. Also, probably related to the spirit abilities, a partnership with Optinode, and how they just repeatedly ran rings around any technology we faced.
The Glasswalker is going to be very satisfied with this, right? And even though there might not be a lot of Glasswalkers here. The Sept is not going to soften any of the blows here. This is a time for raw, honest grief. They will speak the tales as they have heard them mostly from Stormspeaker, obviously. Stormspeaker, shall we be a little bit cruel? And are you going to take half for your charisma performance here? Or do you want to take your chances to maybe tell a tale that could be spread across the nation? Which will require many successes.
How many successes will it need? Because I'll be rolling 7.
I have no idea, because 5th edition have not told us about that. But let's say that it would be hard, so 5 successes.
Yeah, you would have to look in.
I'll try it for...
Are you going to tell it as a tale, or are you going to sing it as a song for the Moot?
I think tell it as a tale.
Alright. It's a performance regardless.
Yeah. And I don't think any of my abilities will enhance it, will they? Because my sort of skills only work against normal humans.
Yeah, these are all Garou here now.
I have a question. Oh, never mind.
I have a question. I was going to say, can I assist by howling at appropriate moments to add to the flavor and the solemnity of the story?
You can.
I was also about to say that maybe since True Strike and Skitters also knew them, that they perhaps at appropriate moments they could add in their own bits of...
Let's just make it simple and say that we add 2 successes then, because there's 4 of you, and each of you would add a die, so that's 2 more successes to Miles, which means that he gets 9 successes, which is just absolute madness. Does this mean that... Does this mean that this story will be... So, this is nearly impossible, 7 or more successes. Does this mean
like
that
silver record?
I was going to say, does this mean that Stormspeaker has just entered the story of Themis and Weavewalker into the silver record?
Maybe, hopefully.
I think so. I think
Fuck
so.
yeah!
And I think that is worthy of a wolf howl right there. Well,
Elliot.
The Pure Heart Sept is not only mourning. You will know, as people are taking up the howls, as they are doing the dance in their honor, they're doing the rituals, placing the incense, the smudge, all the accoutrements that go to a proper funeral, and doing it as according to protocol. Your 2 former packmates have been given a proper send-off. The Rite leader will step forth and call all of you forwards as Stormspeaker ends the tale. The air gets tight. And they will start now. Now is like when the ritual comes out of your hands, of your telling of tales, and becomes one of recognition. The rite of recognition. It's a rite of mourning that turns into a rite of recognition in the same evening. And, of course, Takakané will put smears of ash and whatever else they put into the ash and the fire there, across the brow, across True Strike's scar to mark that it is recognized, glorious achievement of a Garou. And the one who will get more recognition than anyone else in the pack this time is actually Stormspeaker, whose glory and wisdom will be celebrated by all Garou. And the comments of Skitters and True Strike and Heart of Ice runs to fire on what Stormspeaker did with the cleansing ritual, trying to protect the veil, and so on. And the Sept's spirits are listening for the truth in your deeds. There will be howls of celebration. It's a lightening of the mood. After that crushing sorrow, the crushing grief of having lost 2 warriors of Gaia, there is the catharsis of recognizing that they did not die in vain, and you are right here to pick up the work where they left it off. The rest of the pack is also named, of course, not just for victory, but because what you did with the Blight, what you refused to leave behind. You didn't just kill the enemy, you returned with the dead. And you can see, as part of all this, walking even through the clearing, the Great Elk, shining, walking up to the 2 fallen, putting its muzzle to them. Perhaps their spirits will be riding on the back of the Great Elk himself. And it's going to look at Stormspeaker because you have that special recognition, because you gained some renown. And you can hear words spoken telepathically from the Great Elk. We will not pretend this did not happen. And so when you finally leave the clearing, the snow is still falling, the footprints are slowly being covered, but the land is already recognizing what you have done here. You saw the patron spirit of the Pure Heart Sept.
You see Miles comes back from the clearing and you see tears all down his face and blinking, no effort to hide it. And just the snowflakes sticking to him as he walks away.
The pack has been forged anew. The wounds that have been taken have been healed. Those who have been fallen, you have received reinforcements. Pack is as strong as a family as it ever has been. Is anybody going to learn a new rite this night? The celebration after this is going to be pretty mad because I'm sure the Gale Stalkers will try to compete with True Strike for who can drink the most. Don't know who's going to win that one.
Yeah, it's honestly up in the air. Let's see. Hell, we could do a stamina.
Stamina resolve.
Let's see.
Just
Stamina resolve.
Spite.
Yeah. Hell, we'll push it.
Of course. I expect nothing else from Stormspeaker.
Fenris does not favor me! What happened?
What
Fenris has abandoned you. The Gale Stalkers are laughing at you. True Strike, it's very sad.
Brother, I am sober!
Are you sure?
Buggy, did you want to learn the bolt hole gift? Okay, that was a weird noise.
I think what would make sense maybe is... I'm looking at the rights right now on the Paradox Wiki.
Yeah.
It seems like it's either Rite of the Sacred Scar or Rite of Celebration. Honestly, I feel like Rite of the Sacred Scar makes more sense.
Which book is that one in? Does it say on the wiki? So I can have faster.
I don't believe
That
it does.
sounds like a 20th.
Oh, it's on Shattered Nation. It's Werewolf the Apocalypse Shattered Nation, which is V5.
Alright, Rite of the what? Rite of... I'm just going to write Rite of, and then we will have...
Rite of the Sacred Scar.
Rite of the Sacred Scar. Yeah, Rite of the Sacred Scar. Let's go. Okay. You become marked with a glyph in the claw language of the nation. The glyph can represent just about any noun or verb. Mundane tattoos, etc., etc. Okay, cool. Let's do that. That is 5 XP, right? Because it's a rite.
And also, for an appropriate thing just to learn immediately right now,
Yes.
I'm going to say a level of intimidation.
Okay. So, level of intimidation, that gives you, that's 3 points, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's 3 points, then I guess I'll put another into
Isn't it
specialty. I thought it was 5.
Is it 5?
4. I thought it was like 5 for the ability, it's for the level, and then 3 for the specialty.
Is it skill?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
3.
yeah. It's 3 for the special. What was that? What were you saying?
That was good then. If I sound different, I had to switch headsets. My other one died.
Oh, there you go. Increase the skill. New level times 3. So, yeah, the first level is 3.
Okay, then. In that case, then I'll learn another level. Or wait, no. Actually, I'll just save it. And then I'm going to learn the next thing on the downtime.
Wait. You are so fast, my man. I need to have the rights as well. So, we said Rite of Sacred Scar. And I haven't even put that in yet. It is a rite, and I do have the right book for this, so that's all good. Marked with a, that's apparently the one that you use to make glyphs on people. So now you can make glyphs on everyone. And the pool is renown plus craft.
Yeah. And honestly, I think with that, I'll also put a point in craft.
So that is Rite of Sacred Scar, which is 5 points. Boom. And then you wanted a point of craft as well.
Yes.
Do you have any craft yet? No? This is your first?
Nope. Yep, my first point. And yeah, I think that'll be it for now until we get to New York. Because I have a back
just
room.
like during this moot, as you are learning the rite of the sacred scar, you will observe and participate in, as a novice, in the ritual scarring of yourself. and of Stormspeaker, because during the rite of recognition, he's going to get some nice new glyphs representing glory and wisdom. So that is how you're going to learn that.
Maybe do something along the lines of sticking some sort of straw or horsehair into the scar near the eye to make it more pronounced.
For the right to work, the recipient must spend 5 experience points. Okay.
Holy shit!
Allied spirits are then requested to join the ceremony and tithe a small amount of their essence. When completed, the marked Garou enjoys an additional point of renown on all gifts and rites appropriate to the glyph they've been marked with. Players are encouraged
That's
to
why
work
the
with...
XP.
Yeah, this is extra powerful glyphs. Are encouraged to work with a storyteller to identify scenes when the glyphs might apply. Very similar to how specialties might apply.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
So this is like supercharged glyphs. It's not just regular glyphs. Alright. Buggy! What might you be interested in learning? We talked a little bit.
I think for the pack, because people were asking for it and it fits her spirit engagement thing, the rite of abjuration.
Yep.
But also, she would like to learn the rite of tranquility so she could actually heal people with Mother's Touch.
Nice.
There we go. Rite of Tranquility.
And then I will save my last 2.
Alright. You're the first one to actually get this right in this pack.
Yeah, we learned the hard way of my dice pool of 4 is not going to beat somebody with a rage of 5.
No, it's not. The opposite of the Rite of Rage. The Rite of Tranquility is a way for Garou to shed rage harmlessly, to better prepare themselves for social events, walking among humans, or performance of other rites. Performances of this rite can be somber or soothing, serious or playful, etc., etc. Wisdom plus performance. The base difficulty of the rite is equal to the number of participants, though never less than 3. And when you succeed, every participant lowers the rage to 1. Upon a brutal outcome, the rite fails and everyone participating suffers a level of superficial willpower damage, as their frustration gets the better of them. So, there we have that, and Rite of Tranquility. It's gonna make your Mother's Touch life much easier. Alright. Austin, were there any Heart of Ice? Were there any rites or equivalent that you wanted to add?
I think I'm going, since we're going back to New York, I think I'm going to wait because I might have to either ask Buggy to help me with something or I'm going to have to eat shit and call my family.
Ah.
So one of those two. I prefer the first, but we might have to do the second one.
Alright. No 10 XP on strength?
Not yet. We're not yet because I'm gonna see how much it will
Wait, you
cost.
have level 1 strength?
I have on level 1 strength. Yes,
He's
I do.
a very
I'm
slender fella.
I'm a human strength, but a bit more agile. I'm more.
He
look,
only has strength
You
of 1,
actually
2.
look like a dick this whole time? I thought you were like... Your image gave me completely different vibes. I didn't know you were like... Little toothpick.
I am a little toothpick, mostly because he's was trained more into weaponry than actual claw and fang combat.
Yep.
So
Dog.
he's a master with weaponry.
He's not gonna bash down any big metal doors, but he's gonna
Dog,
be very
what?
sneaky and fast and cut Count a bastard with
What?
that really fast footwork of his.
Yeah, but
What
now
Jake has enough money, he is dragging you to the gym, and there's nothing you can do about it because you only have one.
yeah, there is nothing I could do with that.
Miles, what were you looking at for? Right.
I think I can take the Gnaw ability, so I can bite through anything, and we never have to worry about getting trapped anywhere because Miles can then always chew our way out of it.
Okay, where was that one? I need to check.
I need Bug to be my
Is it in
dealer.
Wormtide? Is it in Shattered Nations? Is it in? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Let's see. I remember it's a gift.
Yeah,
I think it might be a native gift. I think it's under the native gifts because I was looking at it too.
I'm looking here. There's a lot of bone gnawers here, but is getting to the actual. Oh, I can't find the gift right now.
I can see it when you put it in the chat. It's the second image of the big bump
I
of
think I found
7
it. I think it's
images.
Moonlight So. Yes, I found it. It's in the Moonlight Path. Moonlit Path. Okay, so it's a native gift, yes indeed. And it's being taught by a termite spirit.
You'd find those in the wilderness and in the city.
Exactly. And it's a level 4 gift. Renowned 4 gift. It's a native
I
gift.
just realized, can you imagine the umbral fights between termite spirits and weaver spirits in a house on the Umbra?
That is going to be something to behold, I think.
That'd be
Powers,
crazy.
gifts, native. Here we go. It's called Gnaw. It is a gift. Level 4.
I'm just imagining a bunch of spiders just fighting hordes upon hordes of termites.
Yes. Yes. That is what it's going to be.
It's gonna be like that one scene in 1 where the 4 predators are fighting all those Xenos.
It's a glory gift, and it's a rage check, and there's no pool for it. When we're using their jaws to break through a physical barrier, the Garou adds their glory rating to any relevant pool, like feats of strength. Any substance can be gnawed through given enough time, although toxic materials remain so. It lasts for a scene. How many gifts is that for you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your 6th gift, isn't it?
How much
Ouch.
XP is this going to cost me?
12.
Ouch.
12. And what else? What else did you have in mind here? You still have some XP left, actually, after that.
Well, I was thinking
Because it turns out that Roger's the best XP leech of the group.
we're going to save that till we get back to New York, because if we're going to turn the Winnebago into the Umbra Rider, that's going to have a hell of an XP cost.
Yes, that would be a level 5 talisman, I believe, which is a lot. So
The good thing about
that's
advanced
15
is
XP. Yeah.
is that they don't scale up like everything else. Like, even a 5-point Tasman is only 15 points.
Yeah, it's 15 points, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Stormspeaker has
But it's 10 points.
14 right now, so yeah. Anyway,
One more.
let me tell you, because we talked about what it looks like when you're being taught by a spirit. And this termite spirit is not going to teach you this Stormspeaker like a martial art. It's rather... Since you're part of the rite here, it makes sense. It's like you're meeting this termite spirit during the moot, during the dancing, the singing, when you see the great elk, there might just be a termite spirit approaching you personally, has chosen you, Stormspeaker, because it has seen... Let's face it, every single story involving Stormspeaker fighting off worm creatures or defending Gaia involves Stormspeaker biting something. It's in Homer, you hear about cunning Odysseus, and in Garou Nation, you hear about biting Stormspeaker. That is basically the rule here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll find the termite spirit just at the edge of a place that looks like a half-built wall made of bone-white lumber and rebar. A weaver construction site that's never finished. Which is because you're a glassworker, right? The air vibrates with an organized hum. There's countless of tiny mouths working in unison. At first you think it's just sawdust drifting in the light, but then the dust moves with intention, swarming along seams and corners. The termite spirit is not just one insect. It's a crawling collective shape that can briefly wear a face if it wants to speak to wolves. And when it does, the face is just wrong. Mandibles arranged like a smile, eyes like knots in rotten wood. It circles Stormspeaker, not aggressive, just assessing, and it taps a claw against a thick beam, and the sound is a hollow tock, like the inside of the wood is already gone. And it will tell you, Stormspeaker, that everything has a seam. It conveys, everything has a... Do you? Your lesson is going to begin with a little bit of a humiliation. You're being led to a barrier, a heavy door, slab of concrete, and it's thick enough that a normal wolf couldn't do more than scrape their teeth on it. And the spirit waits patiently while you are testing it the way wolves test things. Shoulder, claws, frustration, and the barrier doesn't budge. The barrier is insulting you, Stormspeaker. And then the termite spirit crawls up onto the edge of it and bites it. There's no dramatic crunch in this, no explosion of force. It's just absolute certainty. The termite's mandibles find the weakest point, and the material gives. Because the material was never whole. It's like it identifies the inherent entropy of this thing. A tiny notch appears, and then another, and then the notch becomes a line, and then the barrier becomes to fail. The termite spirit turns its head towards you, and you hear the clicking of not strength, not fury, direction. And so it is, you learn about how to gnaw on things. And with that, my friends, we're going to take a pause of this story. We've had this brave pack collect themselves this session, reassess themselves, reorganize, feel the support of their community, reflect upon their experiences, draw conclusions, and learn new things from packmates, spirits, or sept. And I'm sure they're going to put those knowledges to the test soon. Gaia waits for more brave deeds that we will see next week. Aru!